Good morning. Today we continue almost where we left off yesterday with the story of Joseph and his brothers. And one of the things that was just so stunning to me, it was really a new discovery for me yesterday, was to think about what it took for Joseph to forgive his brothers. And in today's passage, I think that gets pushed even a little bit further. But before we get there, I want you to see a video that I think is just hilarious. Some of you may not find it funny, but I think it's just hilarious. So let's just watch this little video first.
So it turns out that when you're asked who your favourite child is, you're expected to pick from your own. I know that now.
Now, obviously, I hope that was done tongue-in-cheek, and if you're going to pick a favorite child, it probably should be one of your own. And yet the story of Joseph and Jacob and all of Joseph's brothers tell us that if we favor one child over the other, we're also going to cause all kinds of problems. When somebody asks you, who is your favorite child, the answer had better be, I love all of my children. Maybe differently, but I love all of them, because we see all of the trauma throughout their lives that Jacob causes by showing so much favoritism to Joseph. That favoritism is what ultimately we could say gets Joseph taken to Egypt, because he kind of lords it over his brothers, his father's goodwill. His father, for all of his life after Joseph is gone and his father believes that he is dead, all of his life Jacob just grieves and grieves and grieves, and that had to just kind of stick in the throat of his brothers. Even though they had sold Joseph into slavery, they had gotten rid of him, and they hoped that maybe he might love them more, and it just never happened. And so here we come toward the end of the story. Jacob is very, very old, and he is grieving himself to death, although it is a death that has taken decades to come. He's almost on his deathbed. His children come home from Egypt, where they've been sent to try to get relief from the famine, and here is what happens. Genesis 45, 25 to 28. So they went up out of Egypt and came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. And they told him, Joseph is still alive. He is even ruler over all the land of Egypt. He was stunned. He could not believe them. But when they told him all the words of Joseph that he said to them, and when they saw the wagons that Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of their father Jacob revived. Israel said, Enough! My son Joseph is still alive. I must go and see him before I die. Now any father, any parent would be desperate to go see their child that they thought had been dead for all of these decades. There's nothing wrong in what he did there. But I do sense in this story that the brothers have finally forgiven the dad for loving Jacob more than them. And so they are celebrating Jacob's triumph. He is even the ruler of all of Egypt. Dad, you're not going to believe this. And there's a tremendous, wonderful sense of they had to recognize this is where our dad is. This is where our dad is always going to be. And to use that phrase, which is perhaps somewhat of a cliche, but I think is so true, we can get better or we can get bitter. And so they recognize we need to celebrate Jacob with our father, and we can all go back to Egypt together. And of course, that is what they do. Now again, as I ended yesterday with that other little cliche, to err is human, to forgive is divine. And let us recognize this way, the ways that we have erred, maybe showing favoritism to children or to other people, and that favoritism has caused difficulties. Or maybe we have felt like we were the ones on the out, and someone, our parents or someone else, showed favoritism to others, and we felt like we were on the out. We can get better or we can get bitter. We can celebrate as best we can with the help of God. And I think all of the forgiveness that we find in these passages is coming from the power, the divine power of God. That is why to forgive is divine. And so we can find a way to forgive and to celebrate and to get better instead of being bitter. And we can do these things because God is with us. Amen.